Osamu Taniguchi is one of Austin's most legendary figures, and the story of him and his family tell us a ton about the city's history. He's best known for creating Zilker Park's Japanese gardens, and I have a personal tie to that place. The story of the Mother Tree, a children's book about Taniguchi's life, was one of my favorites growing up, which makes a lot of sense because my parents got married in the Japanese garden. So here's what you need to know about him and his family. Osamu Taniguchi was born in Osaka, Japan, and immigrated to the US in 1914 when he was only 16 years old. He moved to California and immediately ran into racist systems that prohibited him from owning land. But he was able to create a life for himself in Stockton, California, where he worked as a farmer for over 20 years. But the life him and his family worked so hard to build was interrupted by World War II. Just like 125,000 other people of Japanese descent in the US at that time, him and his family were sent to an internment camp in Crystal City, Texas, with the notable exception that his son Alan was at university at the time and wasn't arrested and sent to the camp. After being released from the internment camp at the end of World War II after over 3 years of being imprisoned there, his family decided to move to the Rio Grande Valley, where many other Japanese Americans were relocating to farm. It was during this time that his son Alan completed his studies to become an architect and became a professor at the University of Texas at Austin. And we can thank him for downtown Austin's iconic hike and bike trail, since he's the one who designed it. So when Osamu Taniguchi retired from farming in 1967, he decided he'd move to Austin to be closer to his son. And from what I can tell in my research, he was really restless being retired and not having some land to actively work on. And given his son Alan's goodwill with the Parks Department after designing the hike and bike trail, he secured 3 acres of land in Zilker Park that his dad could do whatever he pleased with. And what happened next is nothing short of amazing. Osamu Taniguchi worked basically by himself and with no plans for 18 months to create the Japanese garden that we know and love today, eventually completing the garden in 1969. But unfortunately, his son Alan was encountering rocky waters as he ascended to be the dean of the UT School of Architecture in that same year. He ascended to that rank because of his likability and also because he really supported his students who were doing activist work against the Vietnam War, which ran afoul of the preferences of this man, Frank Erwin. And I do mean the man, not the basketball stadium. Because as a member of the UT Board of Regents, Frank Erwin made it his mission to stamp out any and all student activism on campus. In 1972, Alan decided he had enough and he resigned, ultimately taking up the dean position at Rice's School of Architecture in Houston. But there is a bit of a happy ending here, because Alan's son Evan kept on the family tradition of being an architect and still works in Austin to this day. Alan Taniguchi also returned to Austin after he retired from Rice and would eventually pass away in 1998. His father, Osamu, the Austin legend, passed away 6 years before in 1992.